you hear that, when you hear breaking barriers, women in sports, like what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Like you kind of know what it's all about, right? But
Mhm.
like what comes to your mind when you hear that?
What it what it comes to my mind is just the lack of and the lack of women in the rooms. And I cover a team that there ain't nobody in that meeting room that look like me.
Girl, you've got it. And you might as well show it. Girl, you've got it. Act like you know it. Girl, you've got it. And you might as well show it. Girl, you've got it. Act like you know it.
What's going on, sports fans? It is your boy Raylan, the sports reporter without pay. Here we are in the month of March again, another episode of Breaking Barriers, Women in Sports, honoring Women's History Month. This week's guest is none other than the host of Sports and Coffee and the Steelers Chat. I was forced to say that, but we gonna roll with it. But I welcome Miss D. How you doing?
You gotta say that with a little bit more
I
enthusiasm next time. The
hold on.
Steelers chat.
Okay, listen, and you know what? We not even gonna edit this out. It's gonna go just like this. I apologize, y'all. Listen, another episode of Breaking Barriers, Women in Sports, and I have us with us none other this week than the host of Sports and Coffee and the Steelers Chat, Miss D. Welcome.
Yay! I love it. Great job. Great job. Sometimes it just takes two. I
It
appreciate it.
takes
Hey,
two.
what's up,
I
though?
got you. So, I met this phenomenal young lady out at the Black Sports Symposium last year. Right? She was talking her
Yeah,
stuff too.
and Atlanta, as they like to
Yeah,
say.
I think the first time we were in each other's presence, whether you remember this or not, we was in the same room waiting to do the ESPN auditions.
Oh, you know what? I kind of remember it. You were
Yeah,
practicing? I know I was
every
probably practicing.
everybody was
Everybody
practicing.
was
Like
practicing.
everybody, like it was a room full of people, and everybody sitting there. Oh, he hits the baseball.
Yeah.
Everybody was trying to go over their little lines. It was pretty cool though to see how it's done. Um, it was fun. I don't know if anybody had a call back from that, but it was fun.
I
So
think
for
some
the
people did.
well, the guy who actually put us in touch, Tyree, he got an intern gig with them for
Yeah,
a
a
while.
lot of a lot of the young guys, young women and guys did. I noticed, but if they would have called me, I probably would have turned them anyway. But Kaylin and gosh, I'm drawing blanks, but I see I see their faces in my head. But a few people did get some internships. So shout out to ESPN.
Right? So for the people who don't know D, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am D. I call myself a sports personality. I don't really like to use the word journalist because I feel like, they are way more serious about their craft. Not that I'm not serious, but I feel like they're on another level with it. But I call myself a sports personality. I love sports. I love the NFL. I love my Steelers. I love NBA too. I'm very heavy on NBA and NFL, but I love talking about it. I love creating conversations and moderating them and hosting and interviewing people. So I'm just a personality, out here in the world without pay and sometimes getting paid, like you.
You listen, you see the name, the sports reporter without pay. You see
I
it like
love that name, by the way. That's
listen,
so
I keep
creative.
telling people though, if somebody ever hire me, I'm gonna have to change my whole brand. Like I can't keep it forever, right? Somebody got to pay me. Um,
We'll just change the O.
right? We're gonna put in fact, we're gonna just put a line through it. That's what we're doing. We're not making new hats and all of that. We're just gonna put a line through them.
Yeah, I like it. Or just change it to a money sign.
I like that even better. So you have sports with coffee, right? And I've interviewed a few people, and I never really asked them to talk much about their specific shows, but yours is interesting, right? Like you do a lot of stuff in Twitter Spaces, correct?
Correct. Yeah, my show is on Twitter Spaces Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern. And we just talk about the latest and greatest of sports. Whatever's happening, a lot of times it centers around NFL, NBA. It doesn't matter what time of the year it is. NFL is going to get mentioned. Someone's going to have an NFL take. Something's going to happen. Free agency is crazy. We cannot get away from NFL even when they're not playing.
No, and I find that out with a few of the shows I do. NFL is so dominant in the sports world. Like
Yeah.
you got the regular season start, then the playoffs, then the Super Bowl. And as soon as that Super Bowl, we talking, all season acquisitions, who's staying, who's going, drafts coming
Draft,
up,
yeah.
pre-draft stuff, then the draft, then
Then
OTAs, and
camp.
before you know it,
You back
we
camp
back
and
in the
then you back
season.
to preseason. It's crazy. It does not end. That's I think that's why NFL is so much my favorite, and I cannot get away from it. I tried. I was like, oh, you know what? My team, we didn't make the playoffs. I got a nice little off season here, and then here comes the XFL. Drag me in, drag me right in. I can't get away from
Yeah.
football.
So, talk about your journey a little bit. Like, was it always sports? Was it a thing like was it a childhood thing like I'm gonna talk sports like for a living, or was it a career shift? Like later on, you just developed this love, and here we are.
So, it was a childhood thing. I wanted to do radio. Radio was what I wanted to do as a little girl. Always wanted to do that. Music, all that. You in the car. Radio was way bigger than what it is now. And I always wanted to do that. And then my mom kind of talked me out of it for whatever reason. I guess she knew more than I did, but I actually finessed a way, even though I was like a business management major, finessed a way to get an internship into radio. And I saw how much money they were making. I was just like, oh no, this ain't for me. So I went over. I was like, I need another zero somewhere. And I went into the IT field and started working in IT. And then I've always loved sports. Sports is I'm very competitive. I don't like to lose. I am a poor sport. I admit it. I don't care. So sports has always been a thing. And when I got attached to the Steelers, I just could not let go. The passion was just so strong. And being able to talk about them, being able to be around the team just excited me to the point where like I have to let this out some way, somehow. And I traveled so much with work that I didn't have time to go to games. I didn't have time to, come up with content as we call it now. But once 2020 hit and I wasn't going nowhere, and I had this phone in front of me, I had this camera in front of me, I had social media, I was able to create a show. It started with the Steelers chat. I would do it like maybe once or twice a week on Instagram Live. And, people started to come and people would join me. And then I took it from Instagram to my own, use my personal Instagram to create a Steelers chat Instagram, to create, D Love Sports, to create this personality. And then Sports and Coffee grew. It's a year old now, grew from all of that.
So it's funny you mentioned COVID, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of things happen for a lot of people during COVID. And I say all the time with podcasting or sports personalities, anybody can take a phone and put it in front of them and say, "Oh, I'm a sports, like I report to sports," right?
Right.
So if I tune in to watch D, if I tune in to listen to D, what's different? What makes you different?
I think some people say to me like, "Oh, you're a natural." I don't know what makes it natural, but the why I'm different, I don't do it for people to acknowledge me. I don't do it for likes or views or any of that. I do it because I love this. This makes me happy. The camera makes me happy. Saying how I feel makes me happy. Whether you agree, whether you like it, whether you think I make sense or not, I don't care. It just fulfills me. So I think that's one of the reasons why I think I'm different, is because I'm not doing it for people to acknowledge me for it. And I think that's probably why I get so weirded out when people are like, I'm a fan. I'm like, a fan of what? I just be talking, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, so when people say you're a natural, that's what that is, though. When you're doing
Mhm,
it for the love and it's just in you, it just flows
mhm,
out naturally. Like you're not. There are people that you can see them when they get on camera. They're trying to be a personality. When
mhm,
you are,
mhm.
you just are. And I got that from you when I in Atlanta. You're just like she has it. Whatever it is, she got it. Like that. That's it right there. Um, True
I
story.
appreciate that.
So what would you say so far, right? In covering sports or in being this sports personality, what was the high point for you? What's been that one feather in your cap that you look back and go, that was the one?
Well, the one opportunity to talk or ask a question to Mike Tomlin during training camp last year, that was one. But I love the young men, and talking to them and curating relationships with the young guys. I just did an event a couple weeks ago, called the Watkins Award, and these are like 17-year-old athletes. They are academic scholars, but having them have me come back and interview these guys and see, where they are so early in their professional sports journey. I love curating that relationship and telling that story so young, before they're exposed to some of the, the professional athlete stuff, whatever that is, whether it's the money, whether it's the fame, whether it's, agents and all that stuff. I love curating relationships with people and talking to them before they even reach that pinnacle of their career. So I think when I was able to do that multiple times, it really made me enjoy what I do the most. The
So
young people and underdogs. So that's why I love the XFL. These are people that have been counted out, but being able to
yeah.
be a part of something like that and interviewing like young athletes, that really makes me enjoy and make me feel like I'm really doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
So is there anybody in the sports world, in the sports industry, be it somebody famous as big as, one of the big networks, ESPN, Fox, or something like that, or be it somebody that's just not just, but somebody that's more of a social media presence? Is there
Mhm.
anybody in this space that you would say, I hate to say look up to, but somebody that you look at and go, okay, like that person inspires me, or that person kind of
Yeah.
motivates me to do more?
So if you look at someone, and I say this because I'm not polished, I don't like, I'm not the girly girl. And sometimes I can be a little harsh. So I really love Joy Taylor's style. I think she doesn't give you the regular run of the mill personality or journalist or reporter, whatever you want to call it, whatever her title she identifies with. I love her delivery, and it's frank, it's upfront, it's in your face, and I love that. I love it. So she's one that I truly see some of me in when I look on television. So I really do enjoy watching Joy Taylor.
Okay, so let's kind of jump into the meat and potatoes of what this series is all about, right? Breaking
Okay.
barriers, women in sports, right? So let's do it this way. You be the first person I asked it this way. When you hear that, when you hear breaking barriers, women in sports, like what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Like you kind of know what it's all about, right? But
Mhm.
like what comes to your mind when you hear that?
What it when it comes to my mind is just the lack of, and the lack of women in the rooms. And I cover a team that there ain't nobody in that meeting room that look like me. So when I think of breaking barriers, there's barriers to break within the team that I absolutely am loyal to no matter what. Because there's no one that looks like me covering them. And so I make it my mission to prove that I'm good enough or worthy enough, talented enough to be in that room. Sometimes they say yes, sometimes they say no. But I think when I think of breaking barriers, I think of being in rooms that you're not allowed in for whatever reason. Mostly because they don't think you deserve to be there.
So I don't know what that particular thing feels like, right? Like if we
Mhm.
get into a different conversation and we talk about the hierarchy in the world we live in, right? I know what
Mhm.
some of that feel like, but I don't know what it feels like to be a woman attempting to thrive in a particularly male dominated space, right? So what does that like to be in those rooms, right? Like when you look around the room and you go, I'm the only me in this room, and I'm probably
Mhm.
not wanted in this room by a vast majority of the people in this room, right? There's got
Yeah.
to be some sense of gratification to go, but I'm here. But what does that feel like having to overprove yourself when you know you're as talented as whoever, but you got to work twice as hard?
It's a game. It's a game that I find I embrace a challenge in. And I love that I feel confident that I can walk in any room and be comfortable and figure out a way to navigate that space. So sometimes you're not always welcome, but sometimes I am welcomed, and I don't even, but sometimes it doesn't, takes for me to actually get in the room and be like, hey, everybody, I'm here. Because, maybe you didn't want me to come in with you, or you didn't want to help me get in, but I'm here now. And so now people, embrace you when you find your way in that space. It's kind of funny. Then I do feel a little, gratification when I walk into a room and people look at me like, "How did you get in here?" "Oh my God, you made it." It's kind of funny, because I'm like, "Well, you wouldn't help me get here." So I do like walking in rooms and seeing that look on people's faces, that what you doing here, or you're everywhere. I like that one too, because I do be everywhere sometimes.
So I mean, I've said this to a few people. A lot of times when you're overcoming obstacles and overcoming certain hurdles, and you're the one breaking barriers, you may not completely see the full change, but you are setting the path for possibly the next generation, right? Like
Yeah.
D is opening doors for women behind her. So now, maybe 12 years from now, there are more people in that room that look like you, but you had to go through it. Like, what is that? Like, do you feel responsibility in that sense where,
I don't feel responsibility. And I'm not saying, I don't mean that in a negative way, but I don't feel that pressure. I'm not saying that I'm not happy to like kind of pave the way, but I don't feel the pressure. I just feel like this is what I'm supposed to do. And I just don't feel the badge of responsibility. And I don't know if that's a bad thing, but I'll gladly be the one. I'll gladly be the one to send the emails, get on people's nerves, or set the tone or whatever. I'll be that person. But I just feel like if it's for me, it's for me, and I'm gonna take the necessary steps to make sure I've done what I can do to accomplish the goal. And I love, like I said, I love young people. I love talking to them. I will help anybody. I will show up for whoever I can show up for. And so I don't feel that pressure, but I'll gladly do it. No, no need to even ask. I will do it.
so what's the end game for you, right? Like in this journey you're on, right? As a sports personality, in your perfect world, what's the top of the mountain?
I don't know. I haven't even been able to see the top of the mountain. Like I'm just like it's so bright up there, I can't see it, I'm blinded. But for me, it's to be if I can do this as my life, like I still work 9 to 5. I still have a regular job that I do Monday through Friday, and sports is on the side. As often as I do it, as often as people see me out and about doing sports, it's still a side thing for me. And for it to be full time for me would be amazing. And I just hope that opportunity comes one day. Oh, I hope I am as excited for it as I think I will be when the opportunity comes.
So
I'll say that.
that's more long range. In the immediate future, what's up next for D? What can we expect to see soon?
So you'll see more XFL coverage. I am really big on them. I am really trying to submerge myself in that league because I think it is great for the underdog, the guys that have been counted out, the guys that haven't been counted at all. And I'm really, really want to submerge myself into that group of men, because I think they have phenomenal stories and they have phenomenal talent. I love the NFL, don't get me wrong, but there's something about the underdog story that really, me being a woman that's not I'm not 21 coming in the game. I didn't go to school for journalism and broadcasting and all that stuff. So all the no's I've been heard, I know those guys have heard them too. And so I really want to tell their stories and and build a relationship in that arena because I can relate to that so much. So you'll more XFL. Um, I don't like to tell everything, but definitely more XFL.
Okay,
I'll let
don't
y'all
tell it
kind of stay
all.
tuned to other
Yeah,
things.
that's right. Tell them they got to tune in to find out what's next.
You do. Just
So
tune in because you never know, man. You never know where life will take you. I've been blessed and fortunate to meet amazing people. And if you told me I was gonna be here in 2020, I'd been like, yeah, okay. So and done the things I've done, I've been like, sure, whatever. How's that possible? So I can't even tell you all the things that could possibly happen because I don't even know.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
So you're going to be the first person that I took this route in an interview simply because you have all that stuff hanging up in the background. So it's worth
Mhm.
asking. Let's talk about your team a little bit. You're the first person I've went to. Let's talk some sports a little bit, right?
Okay.
Why? Well, I know why. How do you feel about your coach? And like it seems like every year he's in the hot seat. How do you feel about that?
Hot seat? By
Yeah.
who? What
No,
you
we
mean
talk
hot seat?
like
Who's
talk to
whose
me.
hot seat we talk about?
First off, based on the way you responded to that, I would agree that Mike Tomlin has no business in anybody's hot seat, right?
Thank you.
Like,
That's
never had a
good.
losing season, right?
Yeah.
But let talking heads tell it. Let the fans tell it. Let insiders around the team in the Pittsburgh area tell it. Like Mike Top, like this is what you hear just like I do every year.
Yeah, I hear it, but you have to understand this fan base is spoiled. Okay. You got a fan base that hasn't had a losing season since they don't know when, right?
Well,
They're used to
definitely not since Mike Tomlin's been the coach.
yeah, right. So this is over 10 years now, so you have a generation of one young people and old people that they've been like 20 some years since they had a losing season. I don't know the exact number, but this fan base is spoiled. They're used to playoffs. They haven't won a playoff game in a while. There are franchises that are, the Bengals just won a playoff game a couple years, their first playoff game a year or two ago.
Yeah, we're not gonna
So
do that. I'm a Lions
well,
fan, so we're
I'm
not
just
even.
saying, as a fan base, the Pittsburgh Steelers are spoiled.
Yeah.
They're a spoiled fan base, and I don't take a lot of the things that they say to heart. And sometimes I just don't even care because I think it's just babies crying. They just having a fit because they want it their way, and you would think they have some type of ownership, but they don't. But fans will be fans, and that's why I don't call myself a fan. You notice I call myself a Steelers loyalist. I'm not a fan.
A Steelers loyalist. So you locked in with Tomlin all the way.
Yeah, for sure. Like, how can this is unheard of. Like, no one has a like non-losing seasons as many as he's had and been able to lead men. Like, if his players said, you know what, I don't really mess with Tomlin like that, I might listen to them. But I hear these men tell me, even after they leave their team, I would love to play for Coach Tomlin again. I loved playing for him. He's a great man. He's a great leader. And I'm taking that over a fan's opinion any day.
Okay. Is Pickett your guy? Is he the answer for the future?
He
So
is.
is this a Steelers loyalist thing? Like he's the guy now, so he's my guy. I mean, as a sports
Well, I'm gonna
personality and
ride
a
whoever's
fan.
in the front seat. I was hitched to Mitch, Like I honestly wanted Kenny to kind of sit back, learn, and listen. But look,
Okay, listen. If you was hitched to Mitch, then that says a whole lot.
once I saw Kenny Pickett, my biggest concern was I saw it in the Miami Dolphins game. I was like, if he can't establish a 2-minute drill, if he can't, get this team in the end zone in the last minutes of games, his defense gave him multiple chances to do that. That was my biggest concern. After the bye week, that man got it figured out. You saw it against the Raiders. You saw it in Baltimore. You saw that effort, that him getting and commanding that offense later on in the season. So after seeing that, my opinions and thoughts and forming of Kenny Pickett definitely changed.
Last question. Favorite Steeler all time?
Troy Polamalu.
Dude, wait a minute. I don't know if that's fandom or a crush. The way your eyes lit up.
No, he is. No,
He's just your favorite.
Not a crush. It's not a crush at all.
Okay.
But that he is like my goat. He's my goat. And like Minka's like the kid. So people think that about me, and it's not lusty. It's not. These guys are phenomenal players, and the thing I lust after is watching them be so dynamic on the field. I love that. I love the hits. I love they don't talk a lot, but they're so dominant in their positions. It is just I could watch the plays and films over and over again. So Troy Polamalu.
I ain't mad at that. Well, listen, I thank you so much for joining me. I thank you so much for giving me your time. Last but not least, I'm a solo shot you here.
Okay.
everything. If it's TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, the whole shebang, let the people know where they can find you.
Okay, D Love Sports. I am D Love Sports on everything, whether it's Twitter, whether it's YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. D Love Sports. That's where you can find me.
That was really easy. D Love Sports everywhere. Well, again, D, thank you so much. Y'all make sure y'all look for her stuff. D Love Sports everywhere.
And come on for the Sports and Coffee on Twitter. D Love Sports, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. We love to have you. Love to hear your takes.
There it is. Going over to Twitter, Sports and Coffee. Make sure y'all check out the Steelers chat. D, again, thank you for all the viewers. This has been another episode of Breaking Barriers Women in Sports, and we're going to catch y'all on the next one.
See y'all.
Girl, you got it. Act like you know it. Girl, you've got it. And you might as well show it. Say, girl, you've got it. Act like you know it. Girl, you've got it. And you might as well show it. Girl, you've got it. Act like you know it. Girl, you've got it. And you might as well show it.